Season 2, Episode 9, Triggerfinger. That's the name of the episode. So the show, actually, the episode starts off with, seeing Lori, the car flipped over and she's in there. She's still alive. The zombie there's a hole in the glass from when Lori crashed, and the zombie's trying to stick his face in to eat Lori, and his skin is peeling off his face as he's trying to stick his head through this hole in the windshield. Epic, and she starts screaming. Then we go to the guys at the bar. You see that they had people with them. Their group comes for them because they heard shots, and Rick and Hershel and Glenn get down, and they're trying to hide from them, but after they try to get into the bar, this group, like, Rick slams the door shut or like pushes on it. So they're like, is anyone in there? No shit, somebody is in there. Unless they thought it was a walker. They could have just stood quiet. That's why Hershel kind of shook his head. Because after a while, Rick said, we shot him, or something. I don't know. He basically confesses. Like, hey, they were going to shoot us. We had to put them down. We've all lost people. Like, this is how the world is now. Like, just let it go. And then they start shooting into the bar. They're basically trapped in the bar, and they have to find a way out. And they figure they go to the back of the bar and have Glenn run to the car, have Hershel keep lookout while Rick stays in the front, make sure they don't come in through there. But Glenn kind of freezes up, and because Glenn's only thinking about Maggie. So that's the issue there. Lori kills the walkers that were trying to get to her. There was one that tried to get in. She screamed. She managed to get out. She actually managed to stab him in the eye with a screwdriver. Then she gets out. Then there's another walker. She shoots him, which is kind of stupid when you think about it, because in the last episode, when they shot all the walkers coming out from the barn, Lori says, maybe other walkers heard. But you're in the middle of the road by yourself, and you just shot him when you could have taken the hubcap from that, I think, originally you hit him with and just killed him like that. But whatever, she wasn't thinking. Shane finds out that Lori's missing, or they're trying to eat dinner, so he goes out looking for her. Because he has to be the guy to save her. So he could say, I saved you all the time. I saved you. I saved you. I saved Carl. That was me. That wasn't Rick. Now look at me again. I came over here and I saved you again. In the meantime, we still have what's going on over there. It's a cool little shootout scene. When Glenn didn't get away, he hid. Hershel shot a guy once in the shoulder, and the guy fell and he was screaming, and then walkers came and bit his fucking face off. That was awesome. Rick goes out to help Glenn get to the car, and then there's a guy that shoots him on the roof of another building, and then they're like, we gotta get out of here, the crew that's trying to kill Rick and Hershel. We gotta get out of here, there's roamers all over the place. Jump, jump, jump. So, this kid who's played Bugsy Siegel in Boardwalk Empire, and he was also in Rescue Me, he jumps off the roof, but he falls, and he lands on one of these spikes, these gated fences, but it has a spike. They're all spikes on the top. So his leg goes through that, and he starts screaming like crazy. And even though Rick killed those two guys in there, you see, Rick did it because it was me or them. It was me or them. And this time, the kid is just a kid. But I would have left him there, honestly. Hey, you took a shot at me. Goodbye. Sorry, kid. But Rick's not like that in the sense. He's trying to show Hershel, like, that's not how we are. I did that for that, but this is just a kid. We gotta help him. We can't leave him here and die. This is not right. So, but they try to cut his leg off with a little knife, but that's not going to work, and the walkers are getting closer, so fucking Rick just pushes that shit up, and the kid screams like crazy. Epic. So Lori's pissed at Shane, but she tells him, I told Rick about us. And Shane's like, what? You told Rick? Well, you told me it was a mistake? You told him that we were... See, this is another thing. I don't get to this. I can get to this now. Lori, why is she such a bitch on the show? It's very simple. In the comic books, she has sex with Shane one time only. From what I've heard. I did not read it, but from what I heard, she had sex with him only one night when they bombed the city. Okay? So she had sex with him. She said, oh, Shane. That's the scene. That's the little image, panel I saw. So they have sex. Then she feels ashamed about it. In the show, we established that they have a relationship. And it's like, oh shit, Shane's banging his wife. And then right before Rick returns, I think the intro was her and Shane having sex and, looking at the ring on the thing. Oh no, that was probably... Yes, that was the same day. That was the same day. That was the same goddamn day. And then Rick returns, and then Rick bangs her that night. So she had a relationship. We don't know how many times they've had sex, but they had something. So for her to say, no, it wasn't real, is fucking her being a bitch. And she drove Shane to be like this. That's why in this scene, when I see this scene, it's like, wait a second. Now I kind of feel bad for him, even though he's gone batshit fucking crazy, but some of his points are valid. Like, we're putting people at risk looking for Sophia. She's gone. We're putting people at risk leaving the walkers. They were putting our group at risk. You're putting your family at risk. I'm not going to do that. The world's over. It's just we can't do it the same way we used to do it anymore. So, she tells him, and, he walks away. And then Rick and Hershel come back the next morning, and they have the guy with them. This is Randall. He's blindfolded, though. So, again, Shane gets pissed, and he's like, you brought a guy over here with the 2 men trying to shoot you, and then you bring the guy over here. What's he going to do when he finds his camp? Then Andrea is, she looks, and Shane walks out, and she goes, we're going to do this, we're going to do that. And he's like, you're preaching to the choir. And she's like, you ever think is maybe your approach, like, all your ideas are right, but it's just the way you go about them. You got to be more, like, friendly or something. I don't know. It's ugh. And then when Dale tried to warn her again about Shane, she was like, Shane's protected us more than Rick. And it's like, bitch, Rick got you out of that fucking building. That's another idiot. Rick got you out of that building. Rick and him, okay, so he might have put you in that position, but he didn't know you guys were in there in the first place. He was looking for his wife in a fucking imaginary helicopter that they haven't referred to since. But anyway, yeah. So, I don't know. Ugh. Okay. So they return. They have to decide what they're going to do with this guy. They're going to keep him locked up. They're going to let him heal. Hershel fix him. Hershel says to Shane, we still haven't dealt with what you did. I want you off my fucking farm. But Rick changed my mind. But I don't like you. I don't want any, so you don't talk. Ugh. So Shane's pissed off and angry. And he can just take out all his frustrations sexually on Andrea. But my God, I guess Lori was so amazing in bed that he can't take his mind off of anything else but Lori. Also, I like to include something that I haven't mentioned throughout this entire show. After he got his hair pulled, I don't remember if he did it before, but it's like he's doing it as a character, or I guess, I don't know. I got to look back at the first season. But after Otis pulled on his hair, every time he's really pissed or he's gone psycho, he starts rubbing his head. Or he just, like, he walks out of the house rubbing his head, or, he's always rubbing his head. That's a cool little, like, thing that I think John Bernthal added, because I didn't see him do that in any other, I didn't see him do that in The Wolf of Wall Street or on The Punisher. After all that, after the complaining and Andrea and Shane talking back and forth about, his approach to things and how he should handle it, Lori tells Rick everything about Shane, and this is what bothers me about the last episode of this season. Okay, she basically tells him, you put those 2 guys down to get back to us, right? To get back to me, the baby, and Carl. Shane thinks, Shane thinks we're his. Like, trying to tell Rick, like, you gotta kill him. That's what she said. That whole speech at the end is her saying, you gotta kill him. She says it right there. She says it. He's dangerous. I think he killed Otis. And Rick's like, you have no proof. She goes, I know, I don't have proof, but I think he did it, and he wants me, and he doesn't think you're a good leader. He doesn't think that you can live in this world, and blah, blah, blah. He's dangerous. And she basically tells him, kill him. You have to kill him because he's going to take us. He wants us. This was a good episode. I highly enjoyed it. A lot of stuff happened. I like when they split the groups up a little bit, but sometimes, we'll talk about that later, but like in this episode it worked, even though they tried to put things with Maggie, and then Glenn was like, I froze because I was thinking about you and what you said to me, and good episode. I really liked it. Let me know what you guys think down below about this episode. Triggerfinger. I'll talk to you guys next time. Peace.